ahead and get folks checked in. So as I call your name, if you could just confirm that your name on the screen is correct and just tell me who you represent here today. So I have Christina Scavone.
Scavone, that's correct. Yeah.
Scavone?
Mhm.
Got it. All right. And who are you representing here today?
Representing the owner for Oakley Crossings Holdings.
All right. Welcome.
Thanks.
All right. I have a Katie Getz.
Yeah, I'm here and representing Starbucks.
Okay, great. Ms. Getz, are you planning on providing any testimony here today?
If needed.
Okay. If that is, if and when that does happen, I'll just need you to activate your camera at that time. All right.
Okay.
I have a Christopher Hildebrandt.
Yes, I am here representing the ownership group of Oakley Crossing Holdings.
Okay, great. And Christopher, okay. I'll give you the same sort of heads up that I gave to Katie Getz. If you do want to testify, I'll need you to activate your camera when that happens. And then Paige Shelder. If you could unmute.
Yep, sorry, Paige Scheidler, and I am representing the residents of Madison Road, Camberwell Road, Madison Park Avenue, Harrow Avenue, Orkney Avenue, and then also the Oakley Community Council.
Gotcha.
And I would like to testify.
Okay, so you are here on behalf of several different residents and the Oakley Community Council?
Correct, yes.
Okay, are you an attorney?
No.
Okay, got it. All right. And are these individual residents that you're representing here today?
The streets are all part of, are directly impacted by this development that's right there. There are 5 streets of homes. So we do not have an HOA, but we have just an unofficial email chain of whenever developments come about, people can provide their feedback, their concerns, etc. And then I usually am the spokesperson for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
I live on Camberwell Road, which is directly connected to Madison Road and Kennedy Avenue.
Gotcha. Okay. And again, just to be clear, you are a representative of the Oakley Community Council here today.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Welcome everyone. So we also have Trey Sheldon, who is our zoning plans examiner for the city of Cincinnati. Welcome, Trey. All right. I need to read through our hearing script. This will basically just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So this is the September 6th, 2023 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. I'm the Zoning Hearing Examiner. I'll be presiding over the hearing today. The case before us is case number ZH20230137. That's 3686 Madison Road. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, an applicant, sorry. Let me start again. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. Anyone here from the public will then have an opportunity to speak after the applicant has presented its case. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. Trey Sheldon will have an opportunity to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. Let's see. Finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. and may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony or documents. This is generally evidence you want to introduce that consists of statements made by someone who is not present at the hearing here today. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect that prevents us from me fully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, I think we are ready to get started. And so who is going to be taking the lead here on the presentation on behalf of the applicant and owner? This will need to be either Ms. Getz, Ms. Scavone, or Mr. Hildebrandt.
Oh, I can take the lead.
Okay, Ms. Getz, I'll need you to activate your camera and then raise your right hand. The zoning code requires that I swear all of our witnesses in before they testify. So if, yeah, there we go. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, great. Well, the floor is yours.
So Starbucks is looking to have some outdoor patio seating at this new development. It's a multi-tenant building that has already been under construction. They're looking to provide some outdoor seating with their standard store layout, the tables, chairs, umbrellas outside of this existing building. Because it falls within the 100-foot radius of the residential properties. We do and required to apply for a conditional use to place our patio furniture outside and for Starbucks to be allowed to use that area for seating for their customers to dine after purchasing beverages within the location. So that's what we're proposing right now.
Okay, so I'm just want to make sure that I'm correctly oriented here. Where exactly on Madison Road are you? Because as I look through Google Maps here, it looks like it's a little behind on the development. So are you before the bridge there, like across from Oakley Kitchen, or further down?
Yeah, so right at the intersection of Kennedy and Madison Road. So, looks like it's a.
Okay, got it. So you're next to the Swensons there.
I'm trying to get a better view for you.
That is correct.
Mr. Hildebrandt, I'll need you to activate your camera and be sworn if you're going to provide any testimony. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, great. Yeah, so it's in this new development here, right on Kennedy and Madison, near the Swensons, and generally near the Oakley Kitchen. Got it. So where exactly will the outdoor area be located in relation to the larger building?
Yeah.
So they are, Starbucks is on the end cap closest to Swenson's, and there's a small patio space that was already approved by the city of Cincinnati that is part of our development plan that is out front on the end cap facing Swenson's location. So again, it was already approved by the city of Cincinnati Building Department. It's built. They're just requesting access to be able to actually use it. If I could also note that this is this falls under CGA, the same zoning district that we own up the street, and that was approved by the same ordinance for Starbucks to be able to have an outdoor patio area like they do up of our Vander.
Mr. Hildebrandt, you're muted.
Sorry, this is the same zoning, and we went through the same process up on the other development that we own up the street.
Where
On
exactly is that?
on Vandercar.
Vandercar, that's in Oakley?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go a little out of order here for a minute. Trey, I noticed you were sworn earlier, correct? Could you shed some light on the background here? Was this a PD?
No.
This is
No?
not a PD. No.
Okay. What Mr. Hildebrandt referenced something about being approved for this patio in the past. Can you
Well,
help
when
me
they
with that?
poured they did all the concrete work and so on for this, and sidewalks and so on, and this area was poured at least in concrete, but they took any, and because they wanted to proceed with the interior of the Starbucks, the architect removed any drawings from the scope of the permit for actual seating and patio and so on. Like, they took.
So no prior zoning approval or
That's correct.
approval of, okay, got it. All right.
So it's just a hardscape basically, but there's no seating or anything on.
Got it. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate that.
And I
Okay.
made it clear to them that they needed to come in for a hearing.
Got it.
I would also note that since real quickly since Mr. Hildebrandt provided kind of a context for this on the end cap there. It's actually about the actual patio itself is about 290 feet from the nearest residential structure in a residential district. About 290 feet. It's just that if you were looking at, since you have the map up, this, and I can address this later, but I think it's important contextually here, that there are sort of two prongs of this property that stick out north and south of the separate lot that the Swenson's is on, and therefore it's within 100 feet, right across Kennedy.
Let me, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Can anyone see my screen? Okay.
Yeah, we
Great. So it is this in I typically will go out and do site visits, so I'll be able to lay my eyes on this, but just so we can have a more substantive discussion here
I think
today.
if you pull up Cages, it will show you.
So this is not accurate, what I'm looking at here,
No, because
how this is all laid out.
those are houses that existed there before. So
Got
if you were to go to
Okay.
Cages, I think you'll see
Cages
that
is better.
this is all
Okay.
this is all one building. It's kind of like a strip center.
Thanks, Trey. Trey, I'm going to go back to the applicants
Sure,
at this
understood.
point. So anyone from the applicant or ownership team that would like to tell me more about this project and why they believe it's appropriate to have outdoor dining at this location and why I should grant this relief. No? Okay. Are there any potential adverse effects that you all see as a result of this?
I mean, here from the ownership group, across the street on the south side or the east side, however you're looking at it, on Madison Road, you're not directly abutting to residential. There's a car wash across the street and all commercial directly across the street on Madison Road. The residents here that are in discussion are behind that commercial property, number one. Number two, to the north of the property, immediately north of this property, is the radio station, Hubbard Radio's new property. West of our development is Kennedy Avenue, right, which is a 4 or 5 lane major thoroughfare through there with multifamily on the west side of the development, but is blocked from Starbucks. You've got Swenson's, right? And then you've got this other multifamily development and then a residential home that is looking to sell all. We are actually working with all of the residents right now, acquiring the properties across the street. So to do another commercial development and then contiguous with the commercial property that we have under contract on the west side of Kennedy Avenue.
Mr. Hildebrandt, can you activate your camera for me, please?
Yeah, on the west side of that would be BP. So this whole area is a commercial corridor. And again, like I had previously mentioned, we have not the zoning approval, right? The property is zoned CGA, which we have at our other development up the street at 3352 Vandercar, which we went through the same process and we were granted relief with Starbucks there to have 3 times the size of an outdoor patio area there that we have and are requesting at this development. So this is not a question whether it's a permitted use. It's a question of whether you guys are going to grant the ability for there to be some people that sit outside and conjourn and have coffee and talk about the community, what's going on in the community. And in my opinion, this fits the mold of what's going on in the community, right? I mean, Oakley is a transient walking community. You've got the Oakley Kitchen that has some outdoor areas across the street from our development. And they do have outdoor areas right now where they're sitting outside and using the outdoor sitting area to eat. So I don't know why this would be adversely affected. I know that there's a resident who's getting ready to talk that says that she doesn't want a drive-through, but the drive-through is already a permitted use on the development. So as part of the ownership group, again, it's already an approved permitted use. We're just asking you to grant relief so that people can actually walk to the development, grab a coffee and sit outside and talk with other residents of the community so they can get to know each other better and have a sense of place.
Right. Yeah. And let me, thanks, Mr. Hildebrand. I'm aware of what's permitted and not. And here, just so everyone's on the same page, Mr. Hildebrand is correct that the coffee shop, to open a coffee shop here in a CGA zoning district is a permitted use. What is not permitted is to have an outdoor eating and drinking area at that coffee shop that is within 100 feet of a residential district. And this happens to be within 100 feet of a residential district. I just wanted to make that clear for everybody. But I understand, Mr. Hildebrand, your arguments that this does fit with the community character and that it's more or less appropriately located and designed, and there will be no minimal, if not zero, adverse impacts for the neighboring residential district. Is that a correct summation, Mr. Hildebrand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else from the applicant ownership team before I turn it over to the public? And
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, just to add on to what Mr. Hildebrand was mentioning is that the concept that Starbucks is going for is to allow customers to sit and enjoy their coffee drinks after purchasing. There's not going to be any use of outdoor entertainment, loud music, anything that would be disrupting to the surrounding residential homes. The noise level does not exceed anything that would be heard within that 100 feet distance.
Okay. And what are the proposed hours of the establishment?
Right now for the store opening would be 6 to 8 o'clock.
So 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that's 7 days a week.
Yes. So Sundays, I believe is a slight modification of like 6:30 to 7:30, just slightly shorter hours. But the rest of the week will be that time set.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Scheidler. Please correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name, but the floor is yours if you're ready. Okay, sure.
Thank you.
What would you like to tell me?
Yes.
Oh, and let me swear you in if you could raise your right hand. Do you
Yeah.
solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you today. So, Mr. Hillenbrand is right. We did not want a Starbucks drive-through, but that's already done and we can't take that back. But Mr. Hillenbrand has proven time and time again that he is not a partner to the residents of Oakley or the Oakley Community Council. This project has left a wake of broken commitments to the residents living nearby. Mr. Hillenbrand committed on 3 separate occasions recorded by the OCC meetings to not build any type of drive-through here. Drive-throughs go against the Oakley master plan. They do not support a walking community. He has a history of building poorly thought out parking lots with drive-throughs that block parking and traffic. If you've ever gone to the Oakley station where the Starbucks drive-through is during key times, the Starbucks drive-through blocks the parking spaces along with the traffic through there and makes it incredibly difficult to get through if you're trying to go to Coronado or any of the other businesses there. With the drive-through and the drive-up Swenson's sharing the same parking lot, our fears center around significant traffic, which will spill out to an already busy Madison Road. This has already occurred. There was one day where traffic was all the way back up on Madison Road to the storage facility, and I've seen traffic being blocked on Kennedy with people turning left into the development. With this outdoor space, we feel as though the space there is going to be better utilized as 2 additional parking spots. Again, like with the current development that he has at Oakley Station, there is not adequate parking for both the Starbucks and the other businesses that are there. And we've already seen with Swenson's being open that they are utilizing the parking spots that are in front of Starbucks. And we fear that this will just continue to increase over time as more of the businesses open. So due to our concerns about the parking situation based on the Oakley Station design and quite honestly the disaster, the residents do not agree with an outdoor seating area at Starbucks. With the shared drive up of Swenson's and Starbucks drive-through, we do not feel that it's a safe parking lot for pedestrian safety to be walking through there, as when you turn into the development, the Swenson's customers have to drive through the front of the Starbucks and the other businesses that are there to get to the Swenson's spot. There's a lot of traffic with Swenson's that is coming in and out, as it is a slower fast food chain. And so having an outdoor seating for pedestrians to walk to, we just feel would not be safe. Also, we do not have adequate crosswalks. I've been watching a lot of people jaywalking across Madison Road when, Kennedy has the turn because there's no crosswalk there. So right now, to increase like pedestrian, traffic with an outdoor seating, I do not believe is going to be a good use of that space at this time. And the residents do not support it.
Okay. And the Oakley Community Council, did they
We were not
discuss
notified of this. The only reason we know about this is because a resident who received a card sent us a message asking what this zoning change and variance change was about. And that's when we were then notified. That's when we reached out to your team to understand more of what was going on.
Gotcha. Okay, so the Oakley Community Council's board or general body did not actually discuss this and take a vote?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to tell me, Ms. Scheidler?
Nope, I think that sums it up. I would
Okay.
encourage you, if you're going to do a site visit, I would definitely go to the Oakley Station to understand that development, and then drive, down to the development, this development on the corner of Kennedy and Madison Road to understand the impact of both during key time periods.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I think I'll need to do a site visit on this just because it's so new that I really can't get any good imagery. Maybe Trey will be able to show me some, but I think I will need to get on the ground here. Okay, Ms. Scheidler, I appreciate your time and your testimony. I always appreciate community perspective. You all know the area much better than I could with a site visit. So thank you for adding that to this discussion.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to go to Trey, and then I'll give Ms. Getz, Mr. Hildebrandt an opportunity to respond to anything they've heard here today so far. So Trey?
Yeah, David, you can pretty much see in my staff report, I provided images of the kind of the context of this. So you can see the figure 2 on the staff report that's on page 2. You can see not only the zoning layout, but also you can see the building as it was constructed there. And you can see where the separate outlot for the Swenson's is under construction.
let me just show everybody so they understand what you're saying, what you're talking about. This is figure 2. And so is this little area, is this what will be the patio? The
That's
outdoor
correct.
eating and drinking? Okay.
That's correct. So I think they poured that as flat work when they did the sidewalks and so on around it. I just would not put plans for having tables and chairs and things there. You know, I mean, I would, because it needed this relief. So.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is helpful. Thank you.
So I hope that provides a context for you. I measured from the closest actual residential structure in the near Camberwell across. It would be like up on the west side of Camberwell Road, and it's approximately 290 feet from the actual patio to it. But as I explained to you before, there are 2 sort of prongs that stick out from this property and sort of surround the Swensons. And that's what makes it within 100 feet. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be in for a hearing. There are 2, if you were looking at the same images that I showed you before, there are the property, this property sort of surrounds where there's egress off of Kennedy. There's an egress drive with easements coming in off of there. This actually went through a coordinated site review, CSR, I think, and I know that for things like the egress drives, that has to be approved by the Department of Transportation and Engineering. For basically, DOTE has to approve the permitting for that to make sure it's safe for egress. The proximity of driveways to street corners and to other driveways and things of that nature, and for traffic flow. So that's part of the reason that's part of the reason for the layout of this is that the Swensons could, it's a separate standalone building, principal structure. It also could be sold or conveyed to somebody else separately from this from the multi-tenant building. One thing I did want to raise, though, I asked very specifically of the architect, and then eventually requested also, whether there would hours of operation would be compliant, and whether there'd be any outdoor entertainment. I was told no to the outdoor entertainment, and that the hours would be compatible. But I did note that I think Mrs. Getz was saying something about 6:30 a.m. Just note that hours of operation for an outdoor area like this has to be the earliest you can have that is 7 a.m. So somebody will just need to somehow gatekeep that, because unless you're asking for additional relief that I was unaware of, the use of outdoor areas is prohibited between midnight and 7 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, and 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. on all other days. So just something to keep in mind. Like you could.
And that's any use, Trey, of outdoor areas that's not outdoor entertainment?
It's saying within 100 feet of a residential district boundary line, the use of outdoor areas is prohibited between midnight and 7 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, and 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. on all other days, unless conditional use approval is obtained. So, because I asked those specific questions about the outdoor entertainment and hours, so I didn't think any other relief was requested.
Got
So
it.
just a note, I mean, the store can open at 6:30. It's just they can't start seating people outside until 7.
Sure. That makes sense. Anything else you wanted to add, Trey? I see that you recommended approval here.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's a busy corridor. Also there, compared to some like I don't know, things like bars and so on. I mean, this is a coffee shop, and so at least evening and so on. I don't think you have some of the concerns that you would with a much more proximal. You've had hearings for outdoor eating and drinking establishments, but that were like a bar basically, and much closer proximity to actual residential structures. And then that does start to become cause for concern. But here I felt that this is 290 feet away from what I could tell from the nearest actual dwelling in a residential district to the southwest, and it being both Kennedy and Madison Road are like between 4 and 5 lanes of traffic, and there ultimately will be perimeter landscaping around this parking lot, and there's a parking lot itself. Mr. Hildebrandt pointed out that at least to the west, the actual Swenson's restaurant itself will, service both the visual and sonic block from the RMX district over there. They wouldn't be able to see this patio. I don't think we'd be looking at a different building on a completely different lot. Does that make sense? If you were looking eastward.
Hey, David, this is Chris Hildebrand again. Could I?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'll give you a minute here, Mr. Hildebrand. Just 1 minute. I wanted to understand Trey's last point there. You're talking about as you're looking east, Trey?
Yes, if you're looking east from the RMX district to the west, there across Kennedy.
Gotcha.
To see that patio, you might barely see the corner of it or something, but for the most part, it will be obscured by the construction of the Swenson's itself. And then you of course have the trees and stuff and the tree lawn and the basically the perimeter landscaping and tree lawn and such and sidewalk around the parking lot. So I use the measuring tool and from the actual patio itself to the closest resident to the actual closest dwelling in a residential district was approximately 290 feet.
Got it.
The other point I'd make is that this is limited to, at least per the drawing, it's limited to, I counted the number of chairs and it's limited to 18, seating for 18. So if for whatever reason you wanted to make a condition in your decision, so that, they can't just add more and more tables or something, that's what they've shown. That's what they've shown on the drawing that will go in for permitting is 18 seats.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate your testimony here today and your work on the staff report. Okay, going to turn it back over to the applicant owner team here to respond to anything they've heard.
Yes, sir. Can I share something?
Sure.
So I wanted to show you guys exactly what can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
So this is a site plan of development. So I wanted to just point out a couple things here. Okay, so this building here is the actual Swenson's building, as we were discussing. This building here is the large retail building right here. So this area here in the front is the outdoor patio space that we're talking about. So per Trey's remarks, right, anybody over west of Kennedy Avenue that's looking east is going to be blocked by Swenson's building. So you won't even be able to see this. Again, all of the structures on the south side of Madison Road are commercial use buildings, right? So again, this is the development. Picking up on the traffic and the flow and the congestion, we actually worked hand in hand with ODOT previous to construction starting here. And we donated additional right-of-way that we did not have to donate to the city of Cincinnati, and the city's ODOT department has plans to come in here. So this is back of curb of our development. And so the city owns up until a couple inches actually to the back of curb. And at some point in the future, they will come in and build a retaining wall here, and they're going to put in a full slip lane, right? So they're going to put in a continuous right turn lane to help with the ease of traffic flow. So that was already been predetermined and worked. So I wanted to share that with you. We did a traffic study as part of this development that was approved with TEC Engineering, worked with the city on that so that we could actually time the intersection up here and and the crosswalk, right? Because we also own property on the other side of the flood wall that is in the construction phases, pre-construction phases, that will also warrant a traffic light. So it will also help with the flow of traffic here along Madison Road. So just want to share that with you. And then finally, I'm sorry I don't have a better picture. This is during construction, but this is actually what the outdoor patio space is. So it's fenced off. It's got nice structure here. It's got stone to match the building and a nice fence, right? So as you can see, there is not a lot of outdoor space here. Like Trey said, it's 18 total seats. It's just a small little pocket where people can enjoy a cup of coffee and talk and get to know the residents as they enjoy their refurbishment. So last thing is, if you want to put a notation on the approval, if you grant such an approval, that we adhere to the 7 o'clock start time, and obviously it would have to shut down at midnight or whenever the business shuts down.
Okay. Yeah, and sorry, did you want to add some more?
No, that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing some of those images. That was helpful. I will note that if this is approved, that the ordinance that Trey referenced will carry regardless of what I put in this decision. If you wanted to get an earlier start time to coincide with your opening time, then you'd have to come back through and get that approval. Otherwise, you won't be permitted to be out there before 7 o'clock, and there could be enforcement action if you are. So that's just an FYI. Ms. Getz, I see you activated your camera. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, just to add to the time frame, on Starbucks behalf, most of the purchasing during that early AM period is probably more drive-through or mobile order pickups on their way to work versus anybody sitting out there. But we will know on our end that the patio use is not allowed till after 7 AM.
Sure. Okay. Great. All right. Well, anything else from anyone in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today? Okay, we'll leave it at that. I want to thank everyone for their time in the testimony. I do appreciate the additional visual references, but I think it would be prudent for me to just do a quick visit that typically consists of a drive past or drive and park, just to get a better sense of the neighborhood and the actual context. And so I will do that and then render a decision after that. I said in the beginning, the decisions typically take about 2 weeks. We're just starting to see some of our summer cases wind down a little bit, and so I think 2 weeks is a good estimate in terms of when I'll have a decision on this. I need to put my decision into a formal written approval or denial, and as soon as I finish that, I put it into PDF and then I email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you all will have it really just moments after it's complete. If you disagree with the approval or the denial in my decision, there is a right to appeal within 30 days. And if that's something you'd like to do, our office can help you with that. Let's see, any questions about that process or anything else before we log off here? Okay. Well, if you do have any more questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure Trey would be happy to answer questions on his end as well. I can't take in any more new evidence. And so any additional testimony, pictures, anything like that, I can't consider. The hearing is now closed. I need to make a decision based on everything that I have in the record. And so I will do that. Thank you all again.
I do have something real quick for them. Please note that since the architect took those, the actual seating and stuff off of the permit, that somebody will need to show the plan that, that was presented here with the seating and so on. That can be done since the permit's already issued. You can do it as an engineering change, but somehow it should be in the drawing set. So I don't know whether Starbucks is covering that or ownership, but whoever is, that if this is approved by David, then you'll need to submit that as an additional documentation for the permit. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Trey. All right. Hope you all have a wonderful day. We are adjourned.